Big Fish making a splash right into Platinum 1, finished off with a 6-win streak, and I'm very happy to show you an updated deck list with some minor adjustments. So quickly going through the deck list before we go into more detail, our first monster is a level 1 tuner Fishborg Launcher, then we have 3 Beautiful Princess, 1 Maxi, 1 Oyster Meister, Ash Blossom, 3 Summoner Monks, 1 Royal Swamp Eel and a level 4 tuner, and then 3 Silent Anglers, 2 White Stingrays, 3 Tenyi Spirits, and 1 Right Hand Shark. Then we have 2 Buzzsaw Sharks, 3 Lifeless Leaf Fish, 2 Zeus Arm Sage, and 2 Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanths. Now for our spell cards, we have Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, Reinforcement of the Army, 1 for 1, White Mirror, Piri-Reis Map, 2 Call by the Graves, and 3 Crossout Designators. And now for our extra deck, we have 3 Synchro monsters. We have White Aura Monoceros, Savage Dragon, Emancipator Rising Dragite, and now our XYZ monsters. Totally Awesome, Bahamut Shark, Abyss Dweller, number 41 Bagooska, number 60 Dagaris, number 4 Stealth Kragen, and Stealth Kragen Spawn. And finally, Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. And for our Link monsters, Linkuriboh, Codebreaker Virus, Saryuja Skull Dread, and Boral Sword Dragon. You're going to run into a lot of hand traps in those Platinum tiers. In order to compete, we'll need some hand trap resistance. So for our first major update, we have added Crossout Designator and Maxi and Ash Blossom. Crossout Designator allows you to banish 1 card from your deck, and then you can negate the effects of cards with the same name as it. It'll mostly be used to banish Maxi or Ash Blossom from your own deck when your opponent uses either of these cards against you. What I really like about Crossout Designator, it is a spell card, and because of that, we can use it as an extender for Summoner Monk. Having cards that fill multiple roles allow you to squeeze in more into your deck so you have room for other cards. Another addition to this deck is Right Hand Shark. Right Hand Shark can special summon itself if you have no monsters on the field. You can dump it into the graveyard in your opening turn using Foolish Burial. This means Foolish Burial is now both a spell extender for Monk and a monster extender for Lifeless Leaf Fish. Right Hand Shark also has a second effect. When this card is used as Eggsy material for an Eggsy monster using materials that are only water monsters, it will gain the effect Cannot Be Destroyed by Battle. It is normally used to summon Bagooska or Stealth Kragen, making these cards much harder to get rid of by your opponent. Another card added to the deck is Reinforcement of the Army. This card can add 1 level 4 or lower monster from our deck to our hand. We will use it to search for Zeus Arm Sage. Zeus Arm Sage is a level 4 warrior. If the only monster you control is 1 level 4 monster not named Zeus Arm Sage, you can special summon Zeus Arm Sage from your hand. The other effects of Zeus Arm Sage won't matter to us because we won't be summoning Utopia monsters in this deck, and just like Foolish Burial, Reinforcement of the Army fills multiple roles, being a spell extender for Monk and being able to search for a monster extender for Lifeless Leaf Fish. This is a library of level 4 monsters that can special summon themselves and cards that search for them. One of my favorite things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is deck building, and if you enjoyed it as much as I do, you can play around with these generic level 4 extenders. You can check them out by going to the link in the description. And finally, our extra deck. The first up is Zeus. Zeus has one of the most powerful effects in the game by being able to send all other cards on the field to the graveyard, completely wiping the board and leaving only Zeus left standing. Zeus can only be special summoned during the main phase 2 if during that turn you have battled with an Eggsy monster. You can use one of your Eggsy monsters as materials to special summon it. Zeus is normally used in combination with Bagooska. Bagooska has a high chance of surviving the battle phase, as it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. With these two cards, you're able to wipe the board and then safely go into a combo. And finally, Appaloosa. This is a card that's not everybody's cup of tea, for this card loses 800 attack every time it uses its effect. An alternative would be any Link 3, 4, or 5. There will be enough materials to link summon into any of these monsters. I personally prefer Borrelsword and Avermax, as both of these cards can interrupt your opponent during their turn. They offer protection for your own cards, while also being able to do a lot of damage. Borrelsword has 3 effects. The first is that it cannot be destroyed by battle. The second is a quick effect. Once per turn, it can target one attack position on the field and change it to defense position, and then it can make a second attack during that battle phase. Borrelsword also borrows half of the attack of the opponent's monster, making it much easier to defeat your opponent in one turn. One other thing to note is that when Borrelsword moves a monster into defense position, your opponent can't activate a card in response to that effect. Now let's get into some replays.
Only real duelists dive headfirst into the deep.
Our opponent has laid some traps for us and activated a Max C, but we're going to use Called by the Grave to negate that Max C. Because we don't want our combo to be interrupted, we're going to special summon 2 cards from our hand without using our normal summon, and we're going to go into Bagooska. Bagooska can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, making it easy for us to survive the battle phase and to trigger Zeus' special summoning mechanic. Zeus wipes the board and eliminates any potential interruptions. Now we can safely normal summon our Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk discards 1 spell to special summon Lifeless Leaffish to send Coelacanth to the graveyard. Dagaris special summons Coelacanth from the graveyard. Then we use Coelacanth's effect to discard 1 card and then special summon 4 fish from our deck. Oystermeister and Royal Swamp Eel will synchro summon into Monoceros, and then Monoceros will bring Coelacanth from the graveyard back into the field. Oystermeister gives us our token, and then we turn our token into a Linkuriboh. As you can see, we have enough materials here to make a Link 3, 4, or 5 Link monster. I'm going to go ahead and use Monoceros, Linkuriboh, and our generic 2 Link monster to go into Borrelsword Dragon. I'll activate Lifeless Leaffish's effect to shuffle 3 fish back into our deck, shuffling our tuner back into the deck. Our 2 fish will be used to Exi summon into Bahamut Shark, and then Coelacanth will bring our 2 tuners from our deck, Fishborg Launcher, and Coelacanth will synchro summon into Dragite. Royal Swamp Eel and Buzzsaw will synchro summon into Savage Dragon. Bahamut Shark summons Totally Awesome, and we pass our turn. We get smacked with Lava Golem, and then Totally Awesome throws a fish at us from the graveyard. Our opponent uses Lightning Storm. Savage Dragon pops it, sending it to the graveyard, and our opponent scoops. So let's jump right into our next replay. This starting hand has Oystermeister, so we'll have to send it back into our deck so we can use it to summon Monoceros. We send Coelacanth to the graveyard with Lifeless Leaffish, and then we use 1 for 1 to get another level 4 on the field, so then we can go into Dagaris. Dagaris uses its effect to special summon Coelacanth from the graveyard, and then Coelacanth uses its effect to special summon 4 level 4 fish. We then use 2 fish to go into Bahamut Shark, and then detach 1 material to go into Totally Awesome. We then tribute summon Coelacanth, Totally Awesome, Bahamut Shark, and Dagaris to special summon Saryuja. Saryuja and Totally Awesome's effect both trigger. Totally Awesome brings Coelacanth from the graveyard to our hand, Saryuja lets us draw 4 cards, and we shuffle Oystermeister and any tuners back into the deck. Saryuja special summons Coelacanth from the hand. We then Exi summon into Stealth Kragen. Stealth Kragen cannot be destroyed by battle thanks to Right Hand Shark. We then special summon Stealth Kragen in a zone where Saryuja points to, increasing Stealth Kragen's attack permanently by 300 points. Coelacanth then special summons Royal Swamp Eel, Oystermeister, and a level 4 fish. We then send Coelacanth to the graveyard by tributing Coelacanth and Saryuja with any Link 2 monster. And then we synchro summon into Monoceros using Royal Swamp Eel and Oystermeister and bring Coelacanth back from the graveyard onto the field. Oystermeister gives us a token, which we then turn into Linkuriboh. We then go into a Link 4 Borrelsword Dragon using Monoceros, Linkuriboh, and our generic Link 2. Using Leaf Fish in the graveyard, we shuffle 3 fish back into the deck and draw a card. Coelacanth discards 1 card and special summons our tuners and a level 4 fish from our deck. Now we can synchro into our Ryzen Dragite and our Savage Dragon. We activate Maxi, giving us card advantages. We're up against Cyber Dragons, which has an extra deck monster called Chimeratech Megafleet Dragon, which can special summon itself by sending our extra zone monster Borrelsword Dragon to the graveyard along with a Cyber Dragon. So we're going to do whatever we can to prevent them from getting a Cyber Dragon onto the field. Stealth Kraken pops Cyber Dragon, sending it to the graveyard and triggering its effect. They add 1 Cyber spell from their deck, try to use it to special summon another Cyber Dragon. Dragite says no. They Exi summon into Cyber Nova Dragon. Cyber Dragon Nova wants to bring a Cyber Dragon onto the field. Savage Dragon says no. Cyber Dragon Infinity uses Nova as material to special summon itself. It steals Savage Dragon, using it as Exi material. Borrelsword moves Infinity to defense position. Rampage Dragon wants to dump more Cyber Dragons into the graveyard. Ash Blossom says no. Borrelsword eats up Mirage Dragon's attack, boosting its attack to 5100. Then it can attack twice by moving a monster into defense position. And that is game.
The mighty ocean commands respect, as do the monsters that inhabit it.
In this next replay, we have an example of a misplay. But we will end up with an end board that at least somewhat manages the situation. So, we special summon Lifeless Fleafish, which sends Coelacanth to the graveyard, and then we go into Dagaris. Dagaris uses its effect to special summon Coelacanth from the graveyard, and then Coelacanth discards 1 card to special summon 4 level 4 fish from our deck. And this is our misplay. We summon Codebreaker too early. We normally summon Bahamut Shark and Toad, and then we tribute to Bahamut Shark, Toad, Coelacanth, and Dagaris to go into Saryuja. We will go into Saryuja anyway. Then, using Toad's effect, we will send Coelacanth to the hand, and then special summon it with Saryuja from our hand to the field. We use Lifeless Leafish's effect in the graveyard to shuffle Oystermeister and 2 other fish back into the deck. This time we'll send Coelacanth to the graveyard by link summoning into Borrelsword Dragon, and then we'll special summon Coelacanth back from the graveyard to the field using Monoceros. Coelacanth then special summons 2 level 4 fish from our deck, and then we turn our token into a Linkuriboh. And then we finish our combo off by summoning Bagooska in defense position. Bagooska moves all monsters on the field to defense position, negating their effects. Only Link monsters are unaffected by this. The deck we're facing is Ancient Gears. They rely on monster effects to special summon monsters from their extra deck. They used a monster effect to change Borrelsword's Dragon's attack to 0. Borrelsword can't be destroyed in battle. Dagaris forces us to skip our main phase 1. We jump straight into the battle phase and attack with Borrelsword. Our opponent's having a lot of trouble with Bagooska. We'll keep Bagooska in defense position for another turn. Our opponent summons a Link monster, then uses that Link monster to change Bagooska's defense to 0. The opponent summons Reactor Dragon. We protect Bagooska by tributing Linkuriboh. Now that it's our main phase 1, we can move into attack position. We use Coelacanth's effect to special summon a level 1 tuner, and then we go into Ryzen Dragite. Using 2 level 4 water monsters, we special summon Stealth Kraken. Stealth Kraken destroys Reactor Dragon, and then Borrelsword hits them with 3000 damage. Ryzen Dragite goes in for the finishing blow, they activate their trap card, Ryzen Dragite negates it, and GG. This next replay gives you a sense of the recovery of this deck. what can you do if all your monsters are destroyed? So Leaf Fish hits the field and starts our combo. We go into Dagaris, and Dagaris special summons Coelacanth from the graveyard. Coelacanth discards 1 card and special summons 4 fish from our deck. You could also special summon Right Hand Shark instead of Lifeless Leaf Fish if you want to Eggsy summon into an Eggsy monster that cannot be destroyed by battle. We go into our Link 2, sending Coelacanth to the graveyard, and then we Synchro Summon into Monoceros using Royal Swamp Eel and Oystermeister. Monoceros brings Coelacanth from the graveyard back to the field. Oystermeister then gives us a token, and then we Link Summon into Linkuriboh. We Link Summon into Borrelsword Dragon, and then we go into Bahamut Shark. We use Lifeless Leaf Fish to send our tuners back into our deck. We then use Coelacanth's effect to bring our tuners onto the field along with Right Hand Shark. Dragite and Savage Dragon hits the field. We then detach 1 material from Bahamut Shark to special summon Totally Awesome. Our opponent hits us with a Forbidden Droplet, negating Toad, Savage Dragon, and Dragite. An effect activates in their graveyard to search for a monster card from their deck and add it to their hand. Ash Blossom negates the effect. They then special summon an Elemental Hero Stratos to search for a card from their deck. They then activate a fusion spell to special summon Destiny Hero Dystopia. Dystopia then triggers its effect to destroy 1 card on the field. He destroys Savage Dragon and then Link summons into Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader tributes a monster special summoned from the graveyard and then adds a card from their deck to their hand. They use the fusion spell to special summon Evil Hero Malicious Bane, a monster that can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. We activate Borrelsword's effect to move Malicious Bane into defense position. Malicious Bane destroys all monsters on our side of the field. Totally Awesome sends 1 card from our graveyard to our hand, and now it's our turn, so we draw a card. We then use Lifeless Leaf Fish to draw another card, and then we activate Right Hand Shark to special summon itself from the graveyard when we have no monsters on the field. To remove Malicious Bane from the field, we'll have to go into Zeus. We special summon Stealth Kraken. Stealth Kraken pops their Link Summon, and then we go into Bagooska. Bagooska shifts all monsters on the field to defense position, negating their activated effects. Stealth Kraken pops another monster, then Bagooska goes in for an attack, triggering Zeus's special summoning mechanic. Zeus sends all cards on the field to the graveyard, eliminating Malicious Bane. Cross Crusader hits the field and tries to special summon Dystopia from the graveyard. We use Call by the Grave to banish Dystopia from the graveyard. Our opponent destroys Lifeless Leaf Fish, triggering Zeus's effect, allowing it to take any card from our deck or extra deck and attaching it to Zeus as material. Lifeless Leaf Fish triggers its effect and allows us to draw another card. It was a close game, but we draw into monsters that give us enough damage to defeat our opponent, and our opponent concedes. Totally Awesome, Lifeless Leaf Fish, and Right Hand Shark provide us with a decent recovery, so we can continue to play if our board is wiped. If you want to take it a step further, you can replace Stealth Kraken and Stealth Kraken Spawn with Diagusto and another Dagaris. If your board gets wiped, you can use your second Dagaris to bring Coelacanth back again, and then use Coelacanth to summon Fish, Eggsy summon into Diagusto, to shuffle 3 monsters from the graveyard back into the deck, so you can bring them out once again. Well, I could go on all day about this deck. I have so much more to share, but for now, that's it for this video. I hope I gave you guys some new ideas to play around with. Goodbye, and have a wonderful day.